Hello and welcome this evening to Critical Role, everyone. A show where a bunch of us nerdy-ass voice actors play Dungeons & Dragons. We've previously, the past 2 weeks, had some great guests joining our first half of the VOX MACHINA group on their adventure. This week we have 2 new guests joining us for this and next week. We're going to have a big warm welcome to our players this week, Will Wheaton and Will Friedel. Thank you guys, thank you so much for joining us. VOX MACHINA, throughout its adventures, found itself in the city of Vasselheim as of late. They came to seal away the Horn of Orcus they had tore from the head of the beholder, Kavarn, deep in the Underdark. Once they'd completed this journey, they spent some time in the city just trying to figure out kind of what can be done there, preparation for possibly Keyleth making a venture out to one of her Ashari tribes, during which Grog entered a fight ring and lost, and the party decided to go ahead and...
Never forget.
I know. Then the party saw that there was some sort of a Hydra-like being that had been harrying the walls at the outskirts of the city of Vasselheim. Being the adventurers they are, they took it upon themselves to leap out into the jungles and forests of the Vesper Timberland, hunted down this Hydra, fought it, and upon slaying it, discovered that there was another group also hunting this Hydra, an actually sanctioned group, and that hunting this Hydra is considered illegal in Vasselheim unless you had actually been contracted to do so.
Whoops.
So in breaking the laws of Vasselheim, they could have been tried for it, but instead chose to return to the city with this group of hunters and be brought before their guildmaster, Huntmaster Vanessa Sindriel. Basically, they were given the choice. They could go to trial, or they could undergo their own personal trial to join the guild, the Slayer's Take, which is essentially a guild that takes on contracts to hunt various requested creatures down, harvest elements of their physical bodies to then be sold or returned to these individuals and be paid for it. If they manage to complete these trials, they will be absolved of breaking the law because they will now be within the confines of it and will be members of the guild. So choosing that, they were then also notified that they would be splitting up into 2 different groups, much to the chagrin of Vex and Vax, our twins.
Split apart.
Separation anxiety is a real thing.
Vax, you were asked to go to the bar to join your sister Vex for a shot of the hardest liquor they had available to deal with the coming separation. You shared a brief breakfast, shared your bitter, spiteful, alcoholic imbibement, and then went your separate ways. The first group went initially, and it's been about an hour or so of you guys waiting in the tavern for them to, as far as you know, take care of their business before you're to go to the guild yourselves. So we have Tiberius, Keyleth, and Vax all sitting around the Bellows Respite Tavern, lamenting what's going to come next.
Oh, cheer up, Vax. You should be back soon.
Yeah.
I've never seen you quite so down.
It's fine, I just have a low tolerance for bullshit, and I'd like to get past this.
Is there anything else you guys wish to take care of before you make your way to the Slayer's Take Guild Hall?
We've lost our meat shield, and we don't have pike, so I think we probably need to go and get some potions.
I mean, I can go ahead and brush up on healing spells as well. Make sure that I come a little bit more well-equipped just in case.
I mean, I'm good on potions, but yes, we should restock our supply.
How many you got?
3 potion of greater healings and 3 regular potion of healings.
Can I have one?
I mean, I suppose if we're just going to go buy more, it doesn't matter, but here, just in case something happens along the way.
Thank you.
So let's look around and get the stuff. Can we do
Okay.
that?
As you guys take the next 20 or so minutes wandering the Quad Roads district of Vasselheim, asking around, a lot of the shops here offer general supplies. You also find that there is a rather large bazaar-type market in the center of the Quad Roads that you passed by when you first came through the town. Amongst many of these barkers, you do catch one small tent, Tiberius, that catches your eye because it resembles the same purple color as one tent you guys had entered in Iman about a year or so ago, which you encountered a fortune teller.
I approach.
So, as you enter the tent itself, you kind of pull the curtains apart here, but the smell that hits you immediately is a very, very heavy kind of sage, a ceremonial burning of various spices to kind of give the air a mystical scent. The light itself is very low. There's a few flickering candles, and it looks like a hooded lantern in the far corner that's kind of directed outward to give a bit of an ambiance to the interior of the tent. And in the far back corner amongst this table, there is indeed a very beautiful elven woman dressed in a fine silk gown with a metallic headband, her kind of dirty blonde hair put behind her ears, and she looks to be in the middle of just shuffling a deck of tarot cards. As you enter, she looks up and gives you a look of surprise and then a curious look of remembrance.
Trista!
She kind of gives you a cross look and...
It's been so long!
Trista's my sister.
You're Forsythia?
It's good to see you again, young half-elf. And you see now, with the current atmosphere, the light seems to dim in the interior of the tent, and the elven woman's visage shimmers and then fades, and they're sitting behind the table. You see a large, hunched forward, gnarled humanoid. This woman, who is definitively referred to as a hag, is currently lording over the table, long, twisted fingers holding that same deck of cards, looking up at you with the crooked nose and the pointed chin, has a grin on her face, looks to you and...
It has been some time, Dragonborn. I can still see there is but a fraction of you still missing.
Yes. I still don't know what that means.
Still shuffling her cards.
So, is there anything I can help you with?
Yes. Potions. I'm looking for a few empty glass vials. Perhaps some acid if you have it.
She stands up, and as she stands up, you can now see the, at full height, even with the hunch, she's now cresting the top of the tent at about 7 feet. Long, stringy, gray-black hair kind of framing the shoulders. The same nice kind of goldish silk outfit that the elf appearance was wearing is there, yet it looks much more world-tattered and matching the one currently wearing it. She reaches behind her, still staring at you intently in the face, and grabs a small case off the wall, sets it down on the floor, pulls back the wooden lid, and on the inside you can see there are 3 small glass vials.
These are what I have to offer. 2 of them will right the physical force. Perhaps take care of some of those wounds someone as foolish and careless as you would eventually deal with. The 3rd one, well, caustic in its nature. Its application is up to you. They are sold as a set, though. 300 gold pieces. Take it or leave.
Here you go.
She reaches over, and as you hold the small bag of coin out, her hand, it completely engulfs yours. The fingers wrap around, and for a second you feel a tug, and you're awkwardly pulled forward a few inches closer to her face. The breath catches your nostrils, the scent of swamp water and old fish. It's a moment of intensity there. You forget your surroundings for a brief moment, and there's just you and this entity, and you really realize she's far older than you ever gave her credit for. She then pulls the bag of coin from your hand and withdraws. The light seems to return from the peripheral of your vision. She reaches forward and pushes the box forward towards you on the table.
Be safe, and may fortune smile upon most of you.
Yes, I know something bad is going to happen.
I'm wondering if you have any poisons beyond the run-of-the-mill nightshades this afternoon or morning.
She stands up and reaches over, and there's a small kind of alchemical glassware set up on the side, and you can see some of it's kind of cracked and old and been brutalized over the time being. And she pulls a very, very small vial of some dark, black, almost umbra type liquid where you can't even see shine in the light in the nearby area. It looks like it almost just absorbs all the light. She kind of puts it forward before.
This would be very unfortunate to find its way in the bloodstream of an enemy, yes?
What do you want for it?
A favor. Not now. But perhaps down the road.
Why not?
Shoves the vial forward. It kind of screeches across the top of the table. She withdraws her hand.
So it is done.
At that moment, there's a very cold shiver down the back of your neck that then fades. And she just kind of grins with this nasty, toothy grin.
Now, be on your way. I have cards to shuffle.
Yoink!
As you all step out, she kind of places her hand in front of her, and her form once again shimmers and shifts down to that beautiful elven maiden that greeted you as you entered. The lights tend to blossom a little bit, and you close the tent behind you.
As we're leaving, that's a good look for you.
You have a slight breathy chuckle. That starts beautiful and then... So you acquired 2 potions of greater healing.
Oh, cool.
And a vial of some sort of caustic liquid. You're uncertain as to what its properties are.
Sweet.
Caustic liquid.
You also don't quite know the properties of yours, but you gather the assurance from a creature of this power. She speaks in riddles, but not in untruths.
I'm getting itchy. Can we just go to the tape, please?
I turn and I lean into Tiberius and I say, he's gonna be cranky the entire time we're on this field trip, isn't he?
Yes, and usually I'm the cranky one.
I know.
You make your way to the southern outskirts, to the outside of the Slayer's Take Guild Hall. You walk up to the main doorway, which has the inscription in front, and pushing the door open. And there, sitting at the central desk, is once again Merton, the scarred-up halfling with the relatively joyful disposition, who looks up from his books and... Okay, it appears to me that at least we have the other half of this venturing group to deal with. Let us hope that perhaps you have better luck than your previous friends and what has been chosen for you, huh?
And, what were they contracted with?
Oh no, they're going to kill a dragon. Would you like me to go get the mistress for you?
Excuse me?
What?
I'll take that as yes. I'll be right back. And he gets up from his table and wanders off.
They'll be fine. I'm sure of it.
Eventually, Merton returns, but he seems, his head down, a little humble. He gestures out with his hands, and you hear the familiar footsteps of the Huntmaster Vanessa Sindriel, her tiefling appearance, both, very striking in her chiseled bone structure in her face, her dark leather armor itself creaking slightly with each footstep, and she has that very commanding yet welcoming appearance, which hides a very hard-to-read interior. You will have one other hopeful for this guild. Will be joining you for this, and then a leader will be assigned to you on this excursion to keep an eye on you and make sure you stay within the rules and not go absconding to some other country and we have to hunt you down.
Fantastic.
As you hear the door knock from the opposite side of the room. Kashaw! Your group has arrived.
Now it's about time. I'm sick of waiting.
As you guys look, the door opens and a human male steps out into the light, if you wish to describe yourself.
I am Kashaw Vesh. I'm an acolyte. Here I am. I've been waiting for you for so long now. I have to travel with them the entire time?
Well, for the remainder of this contract at least, but once you have joined the guild, perhaps other groups will be assigned to you.
I'm sorry, were we late? We didn't mean to keep you waiting. Or do you mean, you've been waiting for us for a long time in the, kind of destiny?
Is she always like this?
Yes, yes.
She's not
a
good at
princess.
reading
She's-
emotions.
This is gonna be fun. Who are you?
Vaxeldam. Kasha.
I'm Tiberius Stormwind.
Dragonborn.
Yes.
So what's your thing? What do you do?
What I do is not really important. What I want to get done, I think, is what matters. What I want to do is start this quest. Is that what you called it, a quest?
It is a contract.
A contract, a job. Can we just get out there, please, and do what we have to do?
Very well.
I agree.
The human that has walked out and approached you, you can see has kind of shoulder-length brown hair, a leather cord that is tied around the center of the forehead. Eyes, 2 different colors. One, I believe, is like a light blue.
One is a light blue, one is a bright yellow. And his right arm, all the way up from where you can see where it disappears below the armor, is covered in 1-inch cuts. Scars all the way up.
Merton goes over and knocks on another door, opens it up, and this individual is fairly easy to hear from a distance. The heavy footfalls and the grumbling kind of echoes through the hallway before he even appears. Merton leads you into the light of the main foyer area. And this will be the group of which you will be guiding on this. I appreciate you doing this for us. I know it's not really usually what you do. But here is your team for this contract.
I'm sorry, where's the team?
This is your team. And Vanessa kind of chuckles to herself. I'm sorry, this is what you'll be dealing with today.
Hi!
Hello, I'm Tiberius Stormwind.
Now, Thorbeer, play nice.
He's a really stout dwarf. He's got a really long red beard that's sort of singed off in the lower right corner. The bottom of top part of like his beard is braided and clamped off with all these like ornate kind of things. He's got these big, thick, ropey white braids that come down on either side of his face and sort of like frame his face. He's got a scar that kind of runs down across his face. And the eye that it runs through is black and his other eye is blue. You can see that he's got these like some kind of dwarven script written in tattoos all the way down his right arm.
So please, if you would not mind, making sure that they see their contact to fruition, taking them on this as you will, showing them the ropes of the guild, and try not to get them killed.
And for me?
Well, you will be rewarded as per the contract. You will have done the guild a great favor, which you know favors can go a very long way in the guild.
I certainly do.
Perhaps now would be a good time for this jovial lot of adventurers to know what it is they are to hunt down.
I think this is going to be an excellent bonding experience.
Seriously, the whole time she's like this?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. It grows on you, though.
I'm sure it does.
I just
So does
like
the
remaining
plague.
positive.
We will bind this contract to you now. Feel free to take over, if you wouldn't mind reading.
Ordered and paid in advance by Anonymous. This contract, binding in honor and the elements, sets upon the agreed members of the Slayer's Take Guildhall, and the task of locating and slaying the below-mentioned entity, and the recovery of the below-listed harvested anatomy items. This contract is good for 3 days, and should the contract not be fulfilled within that time period, all payments are null and void, this contract is null and void, and membership with the Slayer's Take is revoked. Outside of the Hunter's Master's willful forgiveness.
Skip to the punchline.
The quarry has been approved for hunting one Rakshasa. What's a Rakshasa?
Tiger Man,
A Tiger Man?
essentially.
How do you know that?
Storybooks, Singorn.
Rakshasas were entities that originally stemmed from the realm of the Nine Hells. They are devils. They are deceptive and usually embed themselves in elements of society where they can grasp and take power. They love having servitude beneath them. They are notoriously difficult and slippery to find, let alone nail down and destroy. Appearance-wise, they look like a normal humanoid man, but have the face of a tiger. And the other curious element is both of their hands are reversed.
Why can't we know who the client is?
The client has decided that they wish to remain anonymous for this contract.
How far to the quarry?
We've been able to confirm that there is one that is within a huntable distance within the 3 days of the contract. However, part of this trial is to see just how good you are at finding and destroying such creatures. So, that information is for you to find, unless you do not feel your skills are up to par for the Slayer's Take, in which case you're more than welcome to go for the door. Prove to me that you are more than just sellswords. Show to me that you have the intellect, that you have the skill sets, that you have the cleverness to find a creature that does not wish to be found.
Is this how things normally go around here?
Normally, I don't waste my time with the likes of you. Man with a tiger's head gonna stand out, no problem finding him.
This is going to
Well,
be
dwarf, why don't you do your title and lead then?
Let's see how good you are at following. And he heads out.
He's not very good. Oh, he's gone.
As the dwarf exits, you guys follow outside of the Slayer's Take into the center of the main quad roads thoroughfare on the outskirts of the bazaar to seek a Rakshasa, wherever one may be. Knowing the city for the while that you've been here, you know that places of open business that have a lot of traffic are also good places to ask for if anyone's seen anything that might match a certain description or individual you're seeking, any strange behavior, and so you know that the center of the quad roads where that bazaar is a good place to start requesting information, as you have currently none at your disposal.
I'd like to make an insight check on the dwarf, not just if he's lying, I mean he could be, but just to, can I get a gut instinct of what his deal is?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
Is 20.
That's a 2. All right. That's one better than I usually roll.
There you go.
I'd say it's twice as good as I have.
100% improvement.
Gruff exterior, there is definitely a toughened past to him. He seems driven Not necessarily, untrustworthy per se, but definitely a man of little patience, and currently does not seem to be too pleased with the fact that he's essentially babysitting in his mind's eye.
Is there a marshmallow center?
You may find out in due time.
Can I, if you're in the bazaar, do I have to be out of the city to cast Locate Creature, or is that something I can do?
Cast that anywhere you want to. Your magic is divine. This is your city.
And that's not just a descriptor either.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and cast Locate Creature.
All right, so as you guys are having this discussion, you're having this weird stare off and considering where to go in the bazaar. You stop on the nearby alley, 2 buildings down from where the Slayer's Take Guildhall is, and you begin just taking a small dagger from your side and carving a circle in the ground. Throw some runes down that are specific to your patron. You focus your mind for a second, and your eyes close, and you can see, it looks like a pulsing energy of like a very, very dark flame, something that in itself, you could already smell the sulfur. You can smell the lineage, the devil lineage that this entity is, and there is indeed one not too terribly far from where you currently are. It's faint, which means it's in the outskirts, and you know this lasts for about 1,000 feet or so, but it does give you a northeastern direction, and then the spell fades.
We should go northeast. It's also, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, closer than we thought. How about let's start walking that way and see what happens? Can we give that a shot?
I agree. You did the fancy spell.
I pulled my axe out. I'm sort of holding it like a walking stick.
Okay.
And just very deliberately, very demonstratively walking ahead in that direction.
Eventually it brings you around the side of the bazaar, and you see right now it's called the quad roads. There are 2 main roads that meet right where the bazaar occurs, and then they spread off into the other sections of the city. The district begins to drift into another district that you have not previously visited. This district, you've heard it mentioned before. It's known as the Dusk Meadow.
Dusk Meadow.
Now, previous sections have been worshippers of Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon. There was the Braving Grounds, which worships Kor, the god of strength and warfare and honor. The Quad Roads, which is under Arathis, the deity of civilization and invention. The Dusk Meadow falls under the watchful eye of the Raven Queen, the goddess of death. As you begin pushing towards the edge of where the 2 districts meet, you can see that there is an area of the town that, for lack of a better term, it's a more jovial than expected area. There are a series of stands put up along the side of the road. There's a lot of beggars sitting on the side of the street that are currently panhandling to those who walk by. There are a number of taverns. You could hear music coming from various establishments, and it seems almost like the closer you get to the death-oriented district on the border to the quad roads, the more and more it pushes into a shadier Mardi Gras type experience.
Let's ask around and see if anything's been a little out of the ordinary.
I have to imagine anywhere this thing goes, there's going to be strange deaths associated with it. We might as well look there.
Are there shops and stands as well, or is it residential?
There are many that sell just jewelry, many that sell very, very well-made clothing.
Is anyone selling any masks?
And there is one cart that carries more like costume, party attire supplies. It doesn't seem to have too many customers on it, but they do have a couple of masks that are on display. You see a woman in her 40s or so, thin, with a big toothy smile. Her hair is pulled back into a tight bun. You can see there's a little bit of her blondish hair turning to gray on the sides around her ears, Reed Richards style.
I'm pulling a mask off the wall. This is a beautiful piece. Do you make them yourself, or did they come in?
I do. I make them myself, by hand. Hence the price.
They are quite beautiful.
Quite lovely.
We're travelers here. I've never seen a neighborhood like this. Is there a festival going on here, or is this pretty much the basic fare of the day here?
This is the localized festival of the city. Some people can appreciate the fleetness that is life and grasp it by the roots and make it its own before it's snuffed out.
I pull out 10 gold and I spread them on her desk.
How many masks?
Oh, none.
Oh, I would like one.
Take your pick.
I slide 1 coin away from the other 9. And then, dragging my finger across those, say, is there anything out of the ordinary these days?
She gives you a look and, like she's trying to read you, looks about left and right.
I mean, there are some long-standing businesses that have quarrels. Usually they end in small scuffles, or one purchases the other and ousts them from the city. But recently there's been, at least what I've heard, a series of bodies have turned up. There have been a few found fished out by the bastions in the water trough on the outskirts of the Dusk Meadow.
The bastions, what are they?
Bastions, who are the guardians of the city. They seem to be consistent, but I hear they've been mauled by some sort of strange beast.
Mauled.
Now, beasts on the outside of the city, that I can see, but from the inside, that is the stuff of nightmares, is it not?
Is there any indication of the cause of death on these corpses? How do they find them?
I don't know. I have not investigated. Perhaps you have to ask the bastions yourself there, or anyone who is in the vicinity.
And can you point us in the right direction?
She kind of looks around and points off, and you can see there isn't a whole lot of a bastion presence in this portion of the city, and especially since the bastions are more of a voluntary guard, people that from the different clergies, the different temples, train to become bastions and kind of fit themselves with whatever their deity's armor is. You do see there are two bastions that are armored in a very dark, kind of black, dark brown leather that carry a symbol of what looks like a silver raven that is embroidered on one shoulder of a cloak that's tossed to one side. They're across the road about maybe a block up, which is, I believe they're bastions from the Dusk Meadow. Perhaps you could ask them.
Does she have any masks that look like a raven? A raven mask?
She does actually have one that looks like a raven.
I want that one.
I notice a serpent-shaped mask on the wall, and I just pick it up and put it on and say, "Thank you, madam. Much obliged," and walk off and clap Thorir on the shoulder and keep walking.
So Torbear hangs back a little bit and waits for them to get to the door. And then he looks at the shopkeep and, do you have any masks that might fit a little girl?
Yes, of course. You see, she goes and rummages through a small bag and pulls out a mask, this little purple mask that seems to have small fake gems kind of forming the outside with a couple of ribbons that dangle where it would tie around the head. It's simple, but it's pretty. Unfortunately, not many people bring children to this side of the district, so they don't sell very well. But if you would like one, I would be happy to part with it for 2 gold.
1 gold.
1 gold. I guess it is better to settle it than not at all. Here you are. A few moments pass, you wonder where your dwarven leader has vanished, who steps out through the front of the establishment.
Well, let's go.
Great. Are we going to the 2 bastions over there, or what?
Yes.
One other thing you need to know about them, they're horribly paid, so money talks with these people.
As you guys step across the way, it's about a block up. The black leather armor definitely gives you the appearance of somebody who's a bastion of the Raven Queen. As you approach, he gives you all a cursory look and immediately puts a hand to the side where you can see there's a rapier currently sheathed. Hi! You walk with purpose.
We walk for the guild.
Slayer's sake it is.
It is.
What business have you in this side of town then?
Our business takes us where our business takes us. Our business brings us here today.
Alright, then what's your business?
You might be having some trouble.
Aye?
What might be what's causing you trouble and what's going to get us out of here might be the same thing.
There are certain bits of business that are official in this town. I don't know how honestly right it is to be talking with common folk or even the guild who does what it's like.
I'm sorry. You're not talking to common folk.
He wants money.
I know what he wants.
Well, then give it to him so we can get out of here.
I'm going to ask you to go ahead and you can choose if you want to go persuasion or intimidation on this. You're writing that line.
I'm equally bad at both of them, so I think... but I think that Torbeer wants to go intimidation. Give that a try. Ha-ha! There it is! Play?
No.
What's the exact opposite?
You know, I've heard about it for so long.
I know, right? It's like you can't believe that it's a real thing. It's you're actually there.
He steps forward into you to the point where you're almost forehead to forehead. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have to lean down to reach your level. But if you're gonna go about asking questions and not offering proper compensation for information, well then, I think we have no business here.
Oh, if it's compensation, you're looking for. Let's just speak plain. I reach into my pocket and sort of rattle my coins around a little bit. Pull out 4 gold and drop 10 gold out into my other hand.
He reaches over, takes the coins from your hand, and kind of hurries them into a pocket and says, all right, look, I'll tell you what we know, but if you're going to be messing around with this investigation, I ask that you don't let anyone know that you spoke with us. This is all on your own. We have found a series of bodies over the past few years, scattered about, a few months at a time between, all with a similar pattern of death to them. There are marks that are indicative of some sort of beast ravaging the corpses, but no signs of a beast coming or going. The most recent murder we found was a very powerful merchant lord from Moncarel, one that's been in the city for no more than a month, and he's well known in these parts as bringing in a lot of business. His caravans come through, and he brings with himself an influx of much-needed mercantile in the city.
What's his name?
Tyrrell. Lord Tyrrell. We had one beggar that apparently caught sight of this. The murderer, best we can tell, was some sort of lycanthrope. The beggar was babbling, but it seemed there was some sort of a wolf-like creature that was seen, bipedal, walking like a man, but tore this man right through the throat, most of its chest. But when spotted, didn't run, just vanished, disappeared. The last place he was staying was at a recent establishment, only been here a couple years, referred to as the Velvet Cabaret, a very high-end place.
I know it well.
You do. Gives you a look of...
I've heard about it from somewhere else.
Scanlan? Have you been talking to Scanlan? He's all...
Don't know who that is, Storm Shadow.
He likes horror. Okay, it's weird.
I have a question about the bodies. Have you seen them? Is there anything similar with them? Are they all men? Are they all women? Are they children?
No children. Most of them seem to be well-off-to-do folk. Dressed well.
Wealthy men and women. And you said wrapped up? Or just the ones in the river were wrapped up?
The ones that were found in the river, they were wrapped up in blankets. Whatever put them aside was not some beast that threw it. So there was some intelligence to this.
We pumped these guys for all they got.
Yeah.
You're all right. Sorry about that.
It's all right, just maybe offer a little more coin up front next time. And they kind of step around you guys and back out into the main street.
Velvet Cabaret?
Velvet
I think
Cabaret.
so.
We know that this guy, while we walk there, I was talking, we know that this guy is a demon from the 9 hells, and so he seems to be targeting wealthy people. Do you think these are people that he tried to get under his control, under his servitude, and it didn't go his way, so he ended up killing them?
Folk don't go into the Velvet Cabaret unless they got a lot of coin. Someone like Lord Tyrrell. Do we know anything about him? Does his name ring any bells for us at all?
Yeah.
Roll a history check.
Oh boy.
No.
It happened again!
There's no way.
Precedent. You're the nega-Percy right now.
Wow.
You take a moment to conjecture where you may have heard the name. What was the name again?
Oh, the God! You look like a man who knows wealth.
Yes.
I've spent time with Will.
Well, I never have, so I would think maybe if you were a merchant coming into town, very wealthy, looking for some adult entertainment, might be a way to bring him out at the forefront.
Ooh, I agree. I cast Alter Self on myself and turn myself into elf.
All right.
You're half elf, right?
Half elf.
So I'll turn into half elf.
All
And
right.
like akin to
Look regal. A regal-looking half.
highborn half elf.
All right.
Does this mean I should go change clothes?
You were gonna go shopping.
I was.
I jingle what gold I have in a pouch in front of Keelat's face and say, let's go shopping. Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Shopping montage!
You guys have taken moments to acquire outfits that seem a little more fitting as to the establishment you're planning to go and enter.
Guys, we should have aliases. Can we have aliases? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be Torbeer.
I like it.
Ooh,
It's easy to remember.
Ooh, would it be weird if I'm
Yes.
Vex? That's weird, isn't it?
Yes.
That's really weird.
Okay. What's a good elven name? All of my people have like, weird kind of tribal names.
Like Vera or something
Elevira
like
is nice. Coraline.
Coraline.
I will be Scanlan. Shorthalt.
Oh, so what? You can be Scanlan, but I couldn't be.
Well, I
Vex?
can't be. No, you can't do that. I'm just saying it's weird.
That's
right?
double standard, Vax. I'm just saying.
I think it's maybe because you're not his sister, and that it would be weird because like that's his sister's name.
You have a sister?
I have a twin, yes.
What does she look like? Oh.
I presume that I'll play the role of your guard.
Bodyguard, yes.
What does that make me? How about your valet? You'll need one if you're wealthy. Would you have a human, though?
Of course. Of course I would have a human. Lord Scanlan of the Shorthalts.
Lord Scanlan.
We have a cobbling empire.
Of course you do.
Shoes.
Okay.
We cater mostly to halflings and gnomes. Everyone, but specifically because they're so underserved.
You have a gnome shoe empire.
Rolling in it, baby.
Okay.
Am I your wife?
Do you want to be? Is that weird?
I say it's equally
No.
I think that's fine.
It's
It's fine. I can. Yeah. So Coraline Shorthalt.
Done and done.
Torbeer is pulling
so-
on his beard and breathing deeply.
And now I cast Alter Self.
All right.
What was my role in this?
You are an advisor, a financial advisor.
Financial advisor. Excellent.
All right. The Fancy House of Entertainment, it is a 2-story building of dark cherry wood. It stands out like a sore thumb against the rest of the architecture. You can see there are 2 bouncers established at the very front. To the left, you see a meaty male dragonborn. He has a very, very intense look about him. He's thicker, he's kind of built like a barrel, and he sits with his arms crossed, looking angrily amongst the rest of the folks outside. To the other side, you recognize a burly-looking female with short hair and some facial tattoos. The Siren, who you saw battle in the cauldron, apparently works as one of the bouncers of the Velvet Cabaret.
In Draconic, I go, greetings and salutations, friend.
Which gives you a look of confusion for a second, and leans forward, and the Dragonborn looks very intently at you and says back in Draconic, "Are you a member?"
No, not yet. We are new to this place. It has a high reputation. We wish to inquire how to get inside.
Well, if you're not a member, you can acquire membership, but it has to be approved first by the owner. Let me get his assistant. Hold on just a second. Siren? She kind of gives a look. I'll be right back. And she kind of rolls up her sleeves and steps inside. As the door opens, you can already hear what sounds like soft harp music coming from the interior. A few moments pass. Eventually the siren returns, and you are greeted at the doorway by a dwarf with very, very well-groomed facial hair, a beard that comes to a fine point, that has a little gold ring at the very bottom that kind of contains it into a little at the bottom, this little poof. With makeup on, very rosy cheeks, and you can see there is eyeliner on his eyes, a smile to his face, and wearing these long white robes. Lots of jewelry. The rest of his kind of dark brown hair is pulled into a dual ponytail that runs down to the middle and back.
Gracious welcome to all of you. I've been told that you're seeking possible membership to our establishment.
In Dwarvish, I say, that's correct.
Well, fantastic then.
Don't leave possible patrons outside. And looks off to the 2 bouncers, and they kind of grumble and step off to the side.
Come in, follow me.
And he steps inside. As you guys walk in behind him, the interior is very low lit with what looks like a series of fairy fire lamps dangling in small lattice cages. So it has this kind of light purplish pink glow to the general interior. There are no stools or chairs. There are tables that are low set, and the floor is nearly covered with very, very expensive looking pillows. And all the patrons are currently sitting cross-legged or laying around the tables, and you can see the clientele here is very well dressed and very wealthy. And there's laughter and conversation, and this definitely has a very, very different air. It's like stepping into a whole different world from what you're used to seeing in Vasselheim. There are a few folks that are just kind of looking around, keeping the peace, arms crossed. They're all definitely have weapons visible, and they're just kind of sitting there guarding just like the bouncers were at the front of the place. What you do notice, though, is a lot of the servers that are walking around all have these iron bands around their neck, collars that aren't chained to anything, but it immediately gives you this image of slavery or some sort of servitude. It does not appear that they are actually in some sort of servitude, but the adornments they wear are almost trying to get across that atmosphere as if that's part of what you're paying for. It kind of sickens you a little. As you guys have walked to the center of this room now, the dwarf individual that led you in turns around. My name is Hozim. I am the manager of this fine establishment, the Velvet Cabaret. I'd like to welcome you,
Scanlan of the Short Halts.
Scanlan of the Short Halts. Where do you hail from? I've not heard that.
We come from Imam. I sell shoes. We sell shoes.
Yes, Coraline Shortholt.
Coraline Shorthold.
Yes, pleasure.
We were hoping to sample the atmosphere here. Is there entertainment? We heard there was great entertainment
Oh,
here.
there is quite entertainment here at certain hours, if you like. Well, for now, we have more of an atmospheric presentation. And he kind of looks over. You can see there's a small stage off to the corner. A very beautiful elven woman, and she has this gorgeous-looking silver harp in front of her, and she's just plucking away. Her eyes are closed, like she's just caught in the moment. And there's a group of people that are sitting around her, just chatting softly, not to be overbearing to the music, but just to be around that atmosphere. Well, if you are seeking membership, you should probably speak with our patron, the owner of this establishment. Step with me for a moment. And he kind of leads you to the other side of the room, and all these draped kind of orange and gold silks that are constantly kind of getting in your way as you push through. Hozim walks up to it and knocks gently onto it and takes a listen. The door to the end of the hallway opens up suddenly. You hear a voice come from the hallway. Enter! I ask you all to enter. If you are to meet me, please, come, sit, be comfortable. Welcome to the Velvet Cabaret. Stepping into the room, you see, once again, a room that has a square or rectangular table in the center, and there are 3 small cushions on the ground that you see would act as some sort of sitting arrangement. The opposite side of the room has 3 large purple cushions, of which there are 2 women, also servants, that are just kind of laying back comfortably, just resting. And in the center, you see a man, very dark complexion, kind of ratty-looking, crimped dark hair, very well-trimmed beard mustache ensemble, and long black and gold robes and just jewelry adorning every ounce of his hands. His fingers, you can barely see the actual skin beneath. There's just so much jewelry adorning him. My name is Vince Cianor, and I am the owner of this house of joy and pleasure.
We're looking to possibly become members here. We hear the entertainment is top-notch, and we hear that business happens within these walls. My wife and I are businessmen, and what we hear is that this is where business happens.
Business does happen here, yes. Quite a bit of interesting business. From what I hear, as my assistant has told me, your business is shoes. Why would the business of shoes require such a ostentatious location for business?
The shoes are the public face, but the well runs deep.
We get to the meat of the matter, eh? So, shoes is but an appearance. What is your business aside from cobbling, Mr. Shorthalt?
I know my way around poison. And I hear you have the rarest of breeds here. I have come to spend some money to satisfy my clients.
Since you've walked into this room, there has been an air of something not right about you. And through this conversation, I've come to believe that perhaps you're not telling me the truth. But this entire facility is very well paid to make sure that, should you try anything funny, you won't get but 2 steps before the heads leave your shoulders. So let's be frank here. Who are you? Why are you here?
I dispel auto self.
Okay, as your actual dragonborn appearance restores itself, he sits back.
My apologies. I am Tiberius Stormwind. I merely dispelled this to show you that earning your trust is in our best interest.
We're here in the long run to help you.
What is to help me? You have not told me what your business is.
We're here to stop a murderer.
Explain.
Bodies have been showing up outside this building. Multiple bodies. I'm not going to get into the details, but we've been sent here to stop that from happening any further. Now, you must be aware of this problem. People are starting to take notice in this city.
Are you coming to ask questions? To see what involvement we have? Answers? We've already told everything to anyone else. We have no information. I don't know what you're talking about. This is ridiculous. And I may have to ask you to leave.
He's shutting down. Someone do something,
Inside
quick.
check, inside check.
So,
I will also make an insight check.
can I do that as well?
Not again.
That makes my 10 look Titanic.
You glean that there is a nervousness and there are droplets of sweat across his brow, and his briskness does show a bit of fear in his eyes.
I'm gonna approach him and I'm gonna cast Mage Hand, and I'm gonna have it float right in front of me, and I'm like, now, you better start cooperating, because it seems to me that you're getting very nervous, and we don't want to do anything, and nor do we want to leave. All we want is information, so start talking, and start acting like a fool.
Pulls his great axe out and leans on his great axe.
Okay, you're sitting in a room now with a whole bunch of people that want to hurt you. So it's obvious that you're lying. What do you know? Or this guy and this guy are gonna drag and axe you.
There are things beyond your understanding or control involved here.
Oh, I don't know. We can understand a lot.
I walk forward, I pull out Dagger of Venom, and I drop a little bead of black down the blade, and I hold it just about a centimeter under his neck. I will run out of patience, friend. We're here to help this city, and you're gonna help us. Talk.
Make an intimidation check with advantage because of this whole setup here.
20.
I am not the owner. I am a figurehead. Something else currently runs, pulls the strings from behind. He kind of looks off past you. You glance over your shoulder briefly, and at this point you can see the door is partially ajar. And you can see in the little bit of light there is a dwarven face staring through the passage. That then slams the door shut quickly, and you hear footsteps.
Oh, great.
Was that Hosian?
That was Hosen, yeah.
I'm going after Hosian.
Nice.
I'm gonna bap this guy in the head. I'm gonna just flip the blade and strike him across the forehead.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for an attack.
30?
That hits. Go ahead and roll sneak attack damage on that.
Okay, so 42.
42. Yeah, you whack. He's out. It's like a light just lights off. Face on the pillow. The two women squeal in reaction. You guys have rushed beneath it, and as you can see, the dwarf Hosim is kind of walking down the hallway really quickly. You see him. He's about 15 feet away, and as he's walking, he's looking about very nervously. You can see one of the guards is kind of approaching.
I'm gonna cast Silence in front of him.
It creates a sphere of a 20-foot radius of silence here. So he just goes and he does like a hand motion. Nothing happens. Frustrated, he continues to run. Roll. I have you guys roll initiative.
I'm gone.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So have you guys roll initiative as well. So as you guys are turning, we'll get to your turn in a moment. Tiberius, Keyleth, you're up first.
And cast Hold Person on him as he's running away.
Okay. You can see kind of the mystical kind of shimmering cage that seems to encapsulate. Seems to shrug it off.
Because he's not a person. He's not a person.
I'm going to cast Telekinesis and grab him that way.
Okay. The telekinetic force seems to have no effect on the dwarf's form.
It's the Rakshasa! That's him!
Hosim gets just out of the sphere of silence, and then angrily does a motion with the hand, and then
Find out where he is. Let's locate creature again if we can.
as you kind of rush out into the hallway and see that it's vanishing, and you cast the spell for a second, you could see the direction of the creature is roughly ahead of you, and you also see a door on the opposite side. This right-hand door open and close.
He just goes invisible.
So
He's not teleporting. He's just invisible.
He's
That's a big thing.
I'm gonna run just up past Keyleth. Alright, I'm pressing my ear to the door on my left.
You hear what sounds like a slight sound, some sort of a scooting of wood on wood, and then silence.
I'm gonna hit the door with my axe.
Okay, go for a roll.
One!
What'd you roll?
What?
One? No way!
going to test this theory. I'm going to trade you
Oh, okay.
for now.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave you with that dice and see if it
If it transfers,
has any impact whatsoever.
you have to throw it into the fire, Mr. Frodo!
The curse doesn't care about which die is rolled.
Which is very possible, but there needs to be
It's like,
some sort
okay,
of...
it's like science class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you pull back the axe, you actually swing wildly backward.
Creepers.
Embeds itself into the wood behind you.
Again.
Axe is stuck.
I pull out Thieves' pick.
Okay.
It's a 24.
Come on.
All right. You. The door swings open without issue. You push open the door and find your way into what looks to be a very well-adorned bedroom. There is a small table on the side where there are some books stacked up. There's a dresser in the far end. It's closed. There is a canopy bed set up. There is a small end table on the side, and the rest of the room just has a nice kind of a circular rug that's thrown across the center.
Turn my head to everyone and just mouth the words. And perception check the room.
A little bit of movement of the canopy bed, the material that's on top. There's a slight sway to it that comes to stillness that you just barely catch with your keen half-elven eye.
I would like to run up the bed and stab up. Both hands.
You run and charge up into the bed and stab upward into the canopy. The material is torn asunder. This very fine and probably imported silk is carved into 3 separate ribbons and falls gently onto the cushion of the bed proper, revealing the hardwood ceiling above you.
May I enter the room?
You may. You push past,
I sigh heavily, and I pull the rug.
pull the rug, revealing a wooden floor. Plain slab.
You thought that was gonna be good.
What's the point, too?
You pull the rug back, there's nothing there, and you kind of look about at the rest of the folks with a heavy sigh. But the rug was on the right track. Looking beneath the bed, you can see what looks to be, in the shadow, some little bit of elevated wood that catches your attention. There is a 5-foot wide hole in the ground right beneath this bed. And as you catch yourself, you can feel a little bit of wind just slowly drifting up from underneath. There's some sort of an airflow coming from underneath this bed where this hole is, and you feel over and you can see that little bit of wood that you saw peeking forward is the top of a makeshift ladder that is currently fastened to the side of this tunnel that disappears beneath the room. And even just glancing over the side, it continues down for quite a while. You guys begin making your way down with Torbir leading the way. You descend for a good 3 to 4 minutes. You gather probably a good 100 feet or more down. One by one, you make your way down until eventually you begin to see the floor finally begins to appear and rise towards you. You step off the ladder into what appears to be a small circular area that leads into another 10-foot by 10-foot tunnel and continues forward. This is very natural carved earth. It's not smooth stone. It just looks like a tunnel that was mined out of the floor.
Is it still dark?
It is still dark. There is no light source currently, and you all eventually make your way down.
Is there anything loose down there that I can grab a hold of? A rock? Anything?
You can't see anything.
So you can't.
Mr. Human, you are in pitch black darkness.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if I feel around underneath me to try to find some kind. Do I find a loose stone? Do I find a pebble? Can I find anything to grab?
Can I reach down? Yeah, you managed to find a couple of small stones.
Oh, he's milling about.
Light. That's what I was gonna do, but he beat me to it. Thank you.
So you reach down and
No, you kidding?
you find a stone. You pick it up. You begrudgingly grab your holy symbol, and as you begin to recite your cantrip incantation, a flash of white light beaming off the top of the Dragonborn Sorcerer's staff.
This tunnel goes in just one direction.
One direction.
I'm walking down the tunnel.
Okay. And as you're walking forward with your axe, as you're stepping forward, you get this weird tickle across your nose, like a spider web of some kind that catches you, and you kind of instantly reach up and brush it away from your nose. It's much sturdier than a spider web. It's a metallic wire. And as you push away, tink, you hear that slight noise. Behind you, you hear a grinding of stone.
No way.
A loud slam sound hits, like something extremely heavy just dropped behind you.
Run!
Guys, glance over your shoulder and you see what looks to be a stone boulder
Indiana Jones, motherfucker!
picking up speed with the slow decline of this room. What are you doing?
Run!
Run! Get a little speed, but you notice the boulder has started to gathers steam as it continues down, and the pathway you guys are running is going at a slighter, a heavier and heavier decline as you push forward.
I cast a 5th level spell, and I will cast my Obelisk of Iron. 3 in a row.
Okay. Fel, all of a sudden, the room behind you, out of the stone, pockets of iron ore or whatever material is beneath the earth behind you is brought together into a liquid mass and then shoots up in the center of the hallway behind you. With each one of these pillars slamming into the wall, you guys hear these 3 multiple explosions behind you. The impact of stone against iron, and you see the obelisk bend with this horrible creaking sound as the sound of the rolling has stopped.
Let's walk. Shall we walk? I think we should walk.
That's why I like to walk.
You guys continue moving forward. The decline getting a little more difficult to traverse as you feel yourselves now kind of having to field your arms across the wall or use it for balance to make sure you don't just fall. Also, the moisture in the air begins to grow more and more thick. There's almost some source of liquid some point down the future has kind of permeated what was originally dusty, dry air with liquid of some kind, and the air itself grows more and more rancid in scent. As you continue pushing forward, you also feel that the dusty ground is becoming more and more mud-like. Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no.
13.
You're stepping forward, keeping an eye out, and you kind of look back at the group and take a step, and your foot slips out from under you. Smack! You hit the slime and beginning to slide down the tunnel as part of the decline. You guys watch as your cleric just and Goonie style slide vanishes into the darkness.
Oh, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Shaw has vanished into the darkness, and you hear.
As I see this happen, I run over and I'm like, this looks like a lot of fun!
As it runs through the air, Tiberius slides after.
Nice.
Face, body first. Across
And
the
then
slime.
I see Tiberius going, I go,
3 of your party has just vanished into the darkness, hoping that fate will take them to some place of pillows and feathers.
I think I'd rather walk as long as I can.
I think I'm with you.
Yeah.
You guys both make dexterity saving throws.
16.
16.
oh!
Wow. You both manage to slowly make your way down this tunnel as you can't even hear them anymore. You guys, one after another, sliding down the slime and grime going past you. You smell in the air what sounds like vegetable matter that's been long falling in compost, along with what smells like rancid feces mixed with mold, until eventually, out of the darkness, because you're ahead of everyone, you're outside of the range of his light spell, the slime stops and there's just air.
Hey, you guys!
And a few moments of this air rushing past
Oh,
you
shit.
is immediately stopped with a wet sound as you impact hard into some sort of heavy, spongy matter. Thankfully, because it's spongy, you only suffer 4 points of damage. Looking up, you see in the darkness this small light begin to appear.
Oh no.
Dragonborn.
I'm laughing, by the way.
Can I try to move since I hear him laughing? Can I try to move out of the way? Okay.
You roll out of the way as the two of you scream down, and with the light that now shines, you can see this is a cylindrical cistern of some kind, like it is a tunnel that is very tall, and you both impact into the same heap. It's a terrible smell. This room is quite honestly a mixture of long rotting food, of dry vegetation that has been discarded here for whatever reason. A lot of it's like hay and thatch that has been just rotting and molding for God knows how many years. As you guys are making your way down the tunnel, and you have a ways to catch up to them, you do hear.
We do.
You hear this, and as you look around with the light, you can see little bits of movement kind of leaping through this heap. Then suddenly, thrusting out of the center of this heap, you see what looks like a large arm or tendril, kind of brownish tan in colors, slams onto the side of it. A second one.
Oh shit. I go invisible.
All right.
You gotta help. Where the hell did he?
At which point you now see emerging from it the two of these giant tendrils, which they end are covered in these long teeth-like spines, kind of grasping the sides of this stone cylinder, pulling itself out of the refuge, shaking as it pulls itself forward. You now see the body that contains it with 1/3 central tendril that rises up with what looks like creepy eyes or nose holes that are kind of looking around and glancing at both of you. And you see merging beneath that the body, this large 8 to 10 foot thick, wide covered in just slime body that is this gargantuan, toothy maw that opens up with a tongue that lolls out. And that's where we're gonna go ahead and end today's session.
Damn it!